Hi, I'm live. Whew, this one was a slide in at the 5 p.m. mark. Didn't think I was going to make it. It's been a busy day, week here, and I'm grateful for that. And it makes the juggling of the lives just a little challenging. So this week, what I figured we'd cover, and again, if you have any questions, anything that's come up for you this week or first time stopping by, hi, Vicki Baird, intuitive life coach and reader for the last 23 years. And just want to give information, help people, and just create a community that's grounded in intuition and that is well grounded in intelligence and just a bit more available because every one of us is intuitively wired, comes from the soul level. And it's a gift that we may not know about until we go through challenges or expansions in our life. And I just want to bring that information because it can also validate what you've been feeling about yourself or how you talk to yourself. And one of the things that I discovered lately, well, it's not necessarily a discovery, it's more of an uncovering of within a conversation with myself was feeling like I really like myself. And if you've been in this process or this journey of your own of knowing who you are and how you're wired, what gifts do you bring the world? What is your uniqueness? Can you please stop giving yourself a bath while I'm over here? I have the cutest dog on the planet, but she's decided right now is bath time. So that's going to be part of it too. It's one of the joys of going live, right? So I want to ask you, do you know that you come in with this uniqueness, with your own special sauce, that with your soul given, but also human developed skill set and abilities and all of that? For so many of us, through most of our life, we haven't been encouraged to explore that, to find out what is our uniqueness. And yet we all have that. Every one of you came into this incarnation, this physical lifetime with an intention. And a lot of the times the word purpose gets thrown around here, but purpose to me is in and of itself knowing self, liking self, yes, bringing that energy out into the world, but first and foremost, understanding how you're wired, who you are, and what do you want to learn in this lifetime? So, if we start with the messaging that most of us got is that we're not enough or that we really don't have anything special, that other person has the specialness about them, or that uh, it's not okay to be proud of ourselves, to think well of ourselves. I was working with someone yesterday. We were talking about how she has a hard time being excited about things. She feels the excitement, it's in there, but expressing it doesn't feel like it's okay. Like it might be boastful or she wouldn't be humble. And I pointed out that the very aspect of being here, like in order to get here physically, and this can be challenging for people to wrap their heads around, but in order to come in physically, your soul had to want to do that. And it was very excited to be you and you. Like no one else is coming in to be you. So that right there is a uniqueness. And I said, if it's difficult for you to be excited and maybe toot your own horn, maybe what we can look at is being excited about the everyday things, because being excited about the everyday things will bring a joy to your life. And then that can translate into a feeling of like self surety and expressive and love. It really is about loving yourself. And that can be a big leap when you have human conditioning to walk through. And part of the reason this topic came up is I'm seeing it so much in my clients. And then I'm realizing that this is actually my specialty. I am really good at pointing out what is amazing about you until you believe that what is amazing about you, right? But I wasn't doing it for myself. I was typically someone, if you gave me a compliment, I'd be like, oh, well, you know what? I did my homework in a past life. Or isn't everybody goofy, which is a word that is often used to describe me and I'm okay with? Isn't everybody so excited to see a flower bloom? Or doesn't everybody hear the rocks talk? I mean, they're pretty chatty. And I would just minimize and poo-poo all these things and be like, it's no big deal. Like everybody has abilities, everybody's unique. I believe this with every cell and non-physical vibrational frequency of me. I always have, always will. And yet I was returning compliments that people would give me like they were some ugly sweater and I was just handing it back. Now, that would never happen because my mother believed in manners and I'm grateful for that. But not liking myself, I realized that wasn't serving others either because there was a part of me always doubting like why they would want to be with me. Why would they want to hang out with me? Um, what is it? What is the uniqueness that I bring? And it also, once I started doing intuitive readings and operating in this world, I felt a certain obligation to always bring that part of me, and they weren't asking for that. I did that to myself, at least my nuclear crew. Some people did. They expected that every time we were together, I would be reading or giving them some profound insight. And I got to tell you, it's not always there. And there's a reason for that because I'm here learning my own process and learning my own value. And I feel like that helps me serve so many people well because I've been through the doubt and I have wondered about my own value if I wasn't providing a service. And that's a very capitalistic society kind of thing, too, but also a message I received very young in life that your work was a reflection of who you were and you needed to be a hard worker in order to have any kind of value. And I work with people of all backgrounds, all vocations, and levels of education. And the thing that I see the most is makes my heart hurt a little bit, is a profound lack of liking oneself. And I know with every sparkle that's within me that if we all liked ourselves, this place to live would be even more amazing. And I do think it's amazing for most of its bells and whistles. So let me ask you this. How willing are you to say that you like you? Does it feel like it's too braggadocious? Does it feel like that's not okay to say? Because if so, you likely have some wiring in there, some teaching, some belief systems that were lent to you. Our belief systems don't have to stay within us unless we decide to, check the book out for your entire lifetime so that you end up paying for it. Belief systems are laid down by till we own them. And then even once you own them, you can be like, I want to return that. That's not one I want. So have you been taught that it's not okay to like yourself, that it might hurt somebody else's feelings? When I was growing up, I was told quite often not to act so smart. Meanwhile, I didn't think I was acting. I thought I was actually pretty that didn't come in until older. Um, I would say once I got out of school is when I felt like I didn't really have a level of intelligence any longer. In school, it wasn't too bad because you had classes, you had I had a good GPA, I really loved learning. So, but I was told not to be so smart because it bothered other people. Meanwhile, I just have and still do a voracious need for information. Like I feel like Google was invented for me because I just want to look everything up. I want to learn everything because that's one of the reasons we're here is to learn. But I have that desire to learn it and to not know it all, but to learn it all, which is difficult and is also indicative of the number of books I have around me and so many varied topics, but that's off topic. So, do you have a difficulty in even saying that I like myself. It's okay to like myself. Um, and in that myriad of emotions, do you have a desire to like yourself? Because that desire, that life force energy, that prana, that chi, that um, um, kundalini, that energy that flows through us is naturally fed by this spring of a desire to experience, to learn, to grow, to expand. So, do you have a desire to learn how to like you if that's not sitting there as something you've accomplished? And let me just inform or encourage that even when we happen to evolve into that place of I really like me, Sally Field, you like me, you really like me. But we say, I like me, I really like me. There's always going to be a next level of expansion. But with that next level of expansion, something you figure out that you'd like to shift, you'd like to change about yourself. There's always going to be a next level because that's what we do as a soul and a human is we keep evolving. So even when there's a feeling of I really like you, there'll be next levels. So it's not like you're going to croak, kick the bucket, check out, punch your card at that moment. If you do, cool, high five. The process and the experience and the journey of appreciating oneself and learning to love oneself is an ongoing coursework, which I'm very excited about because I'm also nosy. I want to know what else is there that my soul thought I could do in this lifetime, and how can the human me show up to do that? And you all have a similar wiring. We're not all that different. It's just our experiences lead us down different pathways that might take a little bit for us to access our own internal GPS or your intuitive compass to navigate to that place where you're like, it is not going to hurt any other soul. And it is my soul given right to not only like myself, but to love myself. And to love yourself may be a bigger reach. That might take a little bit more work. And that's okay because I firmly believe, and I use this in my coaching, it does not matter how long it takes to get to something. It really doesn't. We get there when we're ready to be there, and we get there when we do the work to be there. No one else is responsible for you liking you. It's nice to have people around you who reflect back to you your kindness, your humor, what they like about you, what they find endearing or why they want to be with you. And truthfully, not like the fluff stuff. Don't fluff it. Like that's just not, it's not necessary. But every one of us has this desire to like ourselves. And I know that the majority of people, when they're acting like you know what, it's coming from a hurt place. And that doesn't mean that we participate or we put up with poor behavior, but we can have compassion because doesn't everybody know, most everybody know what it feels like to not like oneself. So if you can remember that while also, I know it's a lot to ask, while also endeavoring to remind yourself and to remember, because when you came in as, no teeth, naked, trusting that this world was going to be the place for you, you believed wholly in yourself, and WHOLLY, in yourself and in the whole process. And I feel like it's a bit of remembering along with moving the task forward of arriving arriving and then still traveling. So it's like a multi uh, train stop experience to appreciating and accepting and accentuating. Those are words that were in my first book. What is your it? What is your unique identifying talent? What is your inner truth? What is your um, just absolute intelligence about yourself emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually? Okay. So, my encouragement would be that while learning to really like yourself, that you get very inquisitive, you get curious, but you also become a masterful observer of your thoughts, because most of the inner critic dialogue comes from a place that's been taught to you, and it's up to you to stop the dialogue. And you can only stop the dialogue once you hear the dialogue. So for me, uncovering that message of don't be too smart. Meanwhile, people were coming to me for my intelligence and my abilities and my gifts. So yeah, it was quite the tug of war going on there for quite a while until I uncovered that message. The curiosity, though, of what is this? Like, why do I feel like I have to minimize my own intelligence? And then it's family stuff, don't need to get into it. But that willingness to catch the dialogue that was going on in my head when I would edit something that I absolutely knew about. And then I'd say, Vicky, we don't have to do that here. It's okay. Actually, this person is paying you for your intelligence. So I'm going to need you to show up. And I would have conversations like that with myself as the observer and also as the experiencer, to help myself believe in me a bit more. And then, yeah, there were days I was absolutely phoning it in, and days I stayed true to the process. And then it started happening automatically, where the thought would come in and I'd be like, that's not true. And I would have this humor around it and then know that, okay, there's another level that I need to access here. And when I'm working with someone, the most excited that I get is when they're like, I did this. I believed in me. It's happening. And it's like, what is the most beautiful blooming that you could possibly imagine, to see someone connect again with their life force energy, with their soul self, that knew all along that they were the best possible vessel to choose, and to see that line up is phenomenal. But to feel that is exponentially greater. And that's what I want all of you to feel, is to feel that permission, first of all, to like yourself, but then have the practices in place to do that. And to that point, if you watch this, leave a comment or send it to me privately. If some people don't want their stuff public. That's fantastic. It's fine. Send it to me privately, Vicky@VickyBaird.com. How you've benefited from the lives or the podcast, or what you like about them, what you don't like about them. Doesn't all have to be supportive and 5-star reviews. That'd be great, but it doesn't have to be. I want you to be honest. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that is absolutely fantastic. But when you do this, Enrique is going to send you um, a bundle that's on my website for sale. He's just going to send it to you. And it's the Getting to Know Me bundle. It's where you can start really learning who you are and what's great about you and all of that. So you just have to leave a review on the podcast here. Send me an email if you don't want to leave it there, and he'll get that right over to you. It's downloaded, you keep it forever. It's also available on the website, but may as well save yourself 27 bucks, right? And I appreciate it because it also helps me to know if this is serving anyone. I get the analytics, but I like people. So I'm going to encourage you to start being the observer of those thoughts. The tricky part is to not judge them. You're going to see them as like just that scroll that goes along the bottom of a news feed, or school closings, and you get so excited because you might have a school closing. Think of it that way. It is simply a feedback loop. It's going to give you information and you're going to be grateful for that information. Okay. Because if you start judging it, you're going to feed that inner critic. And we actually want the inner critic to start to soften and shift and be in a place of pointing out things. You know what would be great, Vic, if you don't eat the whole pizza? If you save some of it for tomorrow, that's a way that the inner critic could serve you. Can you tell what I'm craving for dinner? I'm so hungry right now. um, but we can help the inner critic to shift to be what it was originally intended. It didn't become a critic until other people's voices got involved. What it was intended to be was this helpful partner to walk alongside of you, kind of like the bumpers in bowling, like to kind of get you back to the middle, to be the guidance to send you in there. It wasn't meant to be this jerk that lives in our head that tells us we suck. So this is one exercise that's enough. We don't need to layer on tons of things. The first thing you will do will become the observer of when those thoughts are coming in. Turn to it kindly, like you're talking to a child or your best friend or something, and say, that just doesn't work for me any longer. Thank you. I'm going to learn through love rather than putting myself down. There is a gift for yourself, humongous gift, a gift that I don't have words for, in embodying and truly being in that space of really liking yourself, because then wanting to help others and wanting to be of service in the world comes there too. But it also, and this is the most important part, I think, brings joy. It just brings joy to your life. And we are here to experience joy. And we just get caught up in the story too much. So if you could do that this week, that would be a wonderful gift to yourself. Observe the thoughts, write them down if it helps, to recognize a pattern, but just observe them. Say, that doesn't work for me anymore. Thank you. Appreciate you weighing in, but that's not how I'm going to go about my life. And I'm going to honor my soul who chose me, because I rock. I'm amazing. And I will learn that I am. So let me know if those work for you. I really appreciate you being here and for watching whenever you're watching, and for being you, because your uniqueness is needed in this world. And I don't mean in a service capacity. Every energy that is part of our beautiful, expansive universe contributes to the whole being, and it contributes to our expansion. So you are a magic ingredient in this recipe that we are creating. And I am so ever grateful that you chose to incarnate at the same time I did. Well, we probably did it before together too, but I'm really grateful that you decided to do it this time too. So, and I'll see you in the next one, the next stream, and in the next lifetime. Thank you. Bye.